What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be taking a tour around the Twin Cities, and we're going to be looking at 4 different listings, all between $395,000 and $405,000, and showing what do you actually get for $400,000 here in the Twin Cities. Hi, my name is Mackenzie Rasmus, and I am a real estate advisor here in the Twin Cities with Engel and Völkers, Lake Minnetonka, and I am so excited to be here with you today. If you are continuing to find value from what we're putting out, I would love it if you would like and subscribe. Again, we are building this incredible community, and I've been really enjoying seeing all of the responses that I've been getting, and I would so appreciate it if you were to like and subscribe, especially subscribing, because that then will get us in front of even more people and hopefully provide as much knowledge and kind of cut through the BS that a lot of other realtors are putting out. And I want to just help as many people as I can. So I would love it if you would subscribe. Okay, so without further ado, let us jump right into it. Today, we are going to be looking at 4 different houses, one in Minneapolis, one in Stillwater, one in Lakeville, and one in Maple Grove. So let us start. Okay, so this one was listed at $395,000. Let me zoom in there, and we closed at $395,000. Also, that has 0 days on the market, which this also tells me that this was probably a pre-market deal where prior to it coming live that there was a buyer that was interested in purchasing it, and they just agreed on a specific price, maybe negotiated it outside of the traditional MLS structure, which is completely legal. As long as it was never coming soon, they can have a completely off-market deal. That is totally fine. So this is a 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-car garage in Longfellow with a 960 foundation size and then a total square feet of 1756. It's cute. Yeah, it's got a lot of the charm that you would see in an early 20th century house. And while the actual footprint itself is not that big, it does have some updated touches that does give it a little bit higher end value. One thing to note about these homes is that being hyper aware of what the maintenance costs are. These being older homes, I mean, that's an over now almost 110-year-old house. Definitely know what you're getting into in terms of the maintenance, how expensive it is to heat the house. We have pretty cold winters here in Minnesota, and also how expensive it is to keep it cool. Each summer that comes along, it seems like it gets hotter and hotter. It's almost like as if there's global warming happening. Anyway, little small pet peeve of mine, but like when they have the different hues here, like just change them out. It helps. Oh wow, that basement is really nice. So updated basement too. Not all the time will you see that. Sometimes you're going to find that the basement is left untouched. Especially in a lot of the older homes with those smaller footprints. And also knowing about stucco, right? This is that siding that folks have utilized in the past. Know what that is going to look like in terms of getting a moisture reading. I would definitely, depending on the house, have a moisture reading for the mold, because sometimes water can get trapped in between the siding of the stucco and the actual house part. So definitely something to look into. But for $395,000, it's not too bad of an option. In Minneapolis proper, you will find that the acre lots, the size of the lots are fairly small. So this is only 0.12, so just over 1/10 of an acre. Small, of course, but less that you have to mowing and upkeep, which that's really nice as well. And this was listed by Travis Erickson of Remax Results. All right, now moving over to Stillwater. So one thing you're going to notice is that already the lot is 3 times as bigger, right? Stillwater is a suburb of Minneapolis and St. Paul. It's right along the St. Croix. I mean, it is beautiful. I think there's many of us, myself included, that if they could choose anywhere to retire to and have that be their forever home, you can do a whole lot worse than Stillwater. It's a great place to be. Plus, downtown Stillwater, super cool. Got a bunch of shops, restaurants, bars, hotels. They really got everything. It's got that small town charm and feel without being too far from the Twin Cities, which that's really nice. So this was listed for $389,900, so basically $390,000, and it closed at $400,000. One thing to note that a lot of people will see, like on Zillow, they'll see, oh, this house is worth $400,000. It closed at $400,000. Well, yes, that was the final sales price, but the seller contributed $10,000 to the buyer's closing costs. And that could be for a myriad of reasons. That could have been negotiated during inspection. That could have just been part of the upfront negotiation. I mean, this house was on the market for 24 days. So depending on the motivations of the sellers, they might have chosen to accept that right off the bat. Just sort of depends. So this is a rambler style. How do you remember these different styles? Well, a rambler rambles on and on, right? It just extends out, so all sideways. Oh, cool. Got updated finishes. By the way, this is a blind react. I purposely have not looked at any of these houses so that way I can be experiencing this along with you. When I'm on showings, I will have researched the property and I will have done my due diligence. So this is kind of fun for me to live react to a house along with you guys. I like these hooks. That makes it nice to keep the curtains out of the way. Stained glass is always nice. Doesn't necessarily add like a value add. People ask me all the time like, oh, okay, I have stained glass here or inlays or, you know, any of this random feature, like how much does that add in terms of my home's value? And it doesn't necessarily take away from it, but it's not like a dollar for dollar, like, oh, I spent 5K on, you wouldn't actually do this, but 5K on stained glass windows and now I'm expecting my house to be 5K or more, an improvement in terms of sales price. It's more about the total package and the use and enjoyment and the experience that the buyer would have when looking at their home for the first time. Okay, wow, you know, do you like I'm curious. I'd be curious to get to know your guys' opinions. Do you guys like the darker colors and sort of like the difference in the white and the green? Let's just start this. Hey, look at this. This is gold and blue, gold and blue color. Remember when that was a thing where we were talking about that dang dress for like weeks on end? What is that? Is that oh, I'm perfect looking at that patio outside. Oh, I thought it was a gazebo. It's just more of like a temporary structure, which is still fine, but I got excited. Fireplaces, that looks like a gas fireplace. If there is any time that you see a wood burning fireplace, definitely get a level 2 chimney scope because that will be a more in-depth look at whether there's any damage to the chimney, because that can be fairly pricey and something that the seller may have no idea is even an issue with the house, especially if they're not using it. They would have no idea that their fireplace is broken or has damage or whatnot. But there's critters and things, and I've seen all sorts of random types of things go wrong with chimneys. So the looks like the cabinetry hasn't been that updated, more of an older school, but it looks like got newer countertops, which that's nice. I look at something like this and like, okay, while a pain in the butt to like have to replace off the bat, it's not something that is gonna affect the total use and enjoyment right away. You know, this is not something that it's like, oh my God, I cannot live here until I have updated cabinets. Like, no, you can just put up with the updated cabinets, or the non-updated cabinets, excuse me. Washer, dryer, and of course, it being a rambler, you might have multiple different buyer groups, but specifically folks that have one level living. And so to have washer, dryer on that main entry level is definitely a huge plus. Oh, is that a swing set? Is there a little play area? Okay, dining room. I like all the windows. By the way, I can tell that they had professional photography. Why? Because the exterior is exposed while also having the interior exposed. And what that means is that they had two different photos that are then meshed together to then complete the full look. Because if you just took one exposure with the inside looking right, then this would not, you would not be able to see here. But the fact that you can see outside tells me that they did get professional photography, which is a good thing. Please get that. Do not, before I got into real estate, I used to think, you know, well, iPhones are fancy. Like, you should be able to take a photo with your iPhone. No, please, please do not do that. My guess is too that this is also their own furniture. I mean, I'm noticing a charger here. I probably would minimize as much as possible. I've learned enough from all of the staging consults that I've been to that you do want to minimize and make it the most blank canvas for somebody to envision themselves in. If they see a charger like that, even something small like that makes them think, oh yeah, another person lives here. That's not my charger. So I would remove that, and that would definitely help in the process. Oh, I like this. I like that shower curtain. It's kind of cool, kind of funky. All right. Oh, and then they put carpet down here. Interesting. Okay, so updated basement with then carpet and then the exposed area here. You know, the more and more buyers that I've taken through, they've been giving really positive feedback on the exposed ceiling here. And then you're gonna see all the pipes and things and whatnot. And if you're not opposed to it, yeah, absolutely. And then you can save on ceiling costs here too. Now, one thing that I see, so this is a, looks like this is a permanent jack. So think of this as just like literally they jack it up, and that then keeps the ceiling from sagging in. Homes over time, they're gonna eventually settle. And so you will find that you'll find low spots in the flooring. That is completely normal. And then you have one of these here that gets put in, and then it literally gets jacked up to then bring it back to level. Now, what could be an issue is, well, I pray to God that this is permanent, that it's securely attached down here at the bottom. I would hope so, given the fact that there's carpet, but you never know. So just gonna say, I have not actually been to this house. I don't actually know, but I would assume, given the fact that there's carpet, that it's permanent. Again, with the hues, just like put the same hue in, it just makes more uniform. But this is cool, like a nice hosting area for the big game, or, you know, the reason why commercials can never say Super Bowl is that the Super Bowl is actually copyrighted, so they can't say for the Super Bowl, they can just say for the big game. Fun fact, more you know. Okay, and lower level with a 3/4 bathroom. A lot of people know this, but I didn't know this prior to getting into real estate. So 3/4, what does that mean? That means it has 3 out of the 4 things that you could have in a bathroom: a sink, a shower, and a toilet. What does it not have? It doesn't have a tub. So if it had, like, let's say this shower was also a tub, then it would be a full bathroom. Half bath would be 2 out of the 4. Quarter bath, if that wasn't, I mean, it is a thing, but not sure, that probably would just be a toilet. And then you would need to wash your hands somewhere else. Please remember to wash your hands, kids. PSA. And bedroom number 4 in the lower level. So this would be considered a bedroom because it does have that window well for the egress window. You do have to have several different things in order for it to be a legal bedroom. The 3 main things that people utilize is 2 ways of egress. So a window and a door, and then the closet, technically. Now, people do get around it by putting like a dresser in there, but legally speaking, it does need a door, a window well, or a window, egress window, and a closet. There's also a bunch of other more in the weeds specs from the Department of Commerce, like got to hold a temperature of X amount, it's got to have a ceiling height of X amount, and that's sort of like the no-brainer stuff. So that's why we do have these sort of gray area rooms that we use that barometer of door, egress window, and closet as a way to see if it's a actual bedroom. Okay, bedroom number 5, spacious and tucked away. Yeah, I like that bed. And then they've got that gazebo top, I guess. You know, it's cute. It's nice. Looks like the condenser unit here is a little old, but you know, it's not anything that's too bad. And then the play set here. Some people ask, like, okay, when I'm buying a home with a play set, does that stay? Does that go? And the short answer is it depends. It depends on what's negotiated at the sellers. More often than not, the sellers probably want to leave it. They're probably not wanting to take that with them. The buyer usually will call the shot of, unless it's in like a heavy multiple offers. And then one of the things that they do to get their offer accepted is that they'll take care of that. But more often than not, the buyer will say, yes, I want it, or no, seller, please take it away. Yeah, I love that patio with like the lounging area. That's nice. And a 2-car garage. It's always nice. You don't always see that in the older homes. This house was built in 1960 and just under 2,500 square feet. Okay, now moving on down to Lakeville, which is an exploding suburb for sure, south of the Twin Cities. This is $403,000, a 3-bed, 3-bath, 2-car garage. This was on the market for 26 days, and it's interesting. I sometimes wonder how, like, I start to tell myself the story, like, why is it that is, you know, why would you do $2,000 off? On a $405,000 house, that's like basically nothing. Maybe they asked for 5 and they split it. I don't know. Okay, so I like the siding there. Okay, older finishes. When was this built? 2004. Yeah, I was thinking this was early 2000s. I mean, you can just tell from the lighter woods, the fixtures and whatnot, that this screams early 2000. Ooh, with updated backsplash though. I do like that. It's clean, right? Basic. And I don't mean basic in a bad way. It just means that what you're expecting to get is what you get. That there's going to be no surprises here. And buyers do appreciate the certainty, you know, that they know that they're getting something of value. This is interesting that they virtually staged this. As technology gets better and better, we are seeing more and more things virtually staged, and it is getting very difficult to detect. So I do appreciate that they put a note here, maybe they had to, that it was virtually staged. Fireplace there, same thing about if it was wood burning. It's not, it looked like it was electric. 1 to 2 doing a chimney scope there. Large yard, which is nice, and more likely than not, oh wow, big yard. Okay, what does association fee? So this is a townhome, meaning that there's an association fee associated with that. And what do you get? You get building exterior, hazard insurance, so like the big, you know, studs and out coverage, lawn care, they're gonna mow your lawn, they're gonna take care of the maintenance, professional management, sanitation, so trash, and snow removal. So basically, if it's outside your 4 walls, the association takes care of it. If it's inside your 4 walls, that is on you, bruh. New water softener in 2020, new furnace and AC in 2020. Okay, nice. So it's got some of like the nicer touches, the nice to haves, as I call it. That's always great when it has that 403,000. Again, Lakeville, Minnesota. Very nice. All right, last and certainly not least, MG, the place of my future residency. Hint, hint, I'm gonna be moving there too. So this is a 1969 house, and it closed for 406,000. So this already shows that this was sold in multiples. 7 days on the market. 375 is what it came on, and then it closed at 406,000. My guess is that there was an escalation clause where say we will beat any offer by 1,000, and I'm sure they got a second offer at least for 405, and then they closed at 406. That's my guess just by looking at the stats of this. That is the story that I'm telling myself. Okay, split level, which is common for that mid 20th century architectural style, but ooh, wow, look at those wood floors. Nice. Nice kitchen, looks like it's got updated. So a smaller dining area, but that's not necessarily a deal breaker. You do have it still being open though, which is super nice. Think if you're hosting, right, you're gonna wanna be able to work and clean in the kitchen while also still then, wait, whoa, I have sold one of these before. So this has this like extended great living room area. At first I did double, like, wait, did I sell this? No, I didn't. I did sell one very similar to this though, in architectural style and floor plan and layout. Think of this as like a secondary living room that got added on. Very popular to have in the late 20th century, early 21st century. Windows, the actual sills look like to be older, but the windows themselves, is that vinyl windows? It looks like they're pretty good shape. Windows are a big thing to look at when you're buying a house. Why? Because they can be very expensive to replace if they're not very efficient or broken, if the seal's broken. Okay, the darker woods here, so it's got the older finishes. Some people really like those. You know, it just sort of depends on the buyer, you know, whether or not they're gonna go for it. Okay. It's got the, you know, this reminds me of the elementary school or middle school type ceiling, the panel ceiling there. Ooh, the deck is nice. Interesting. So more than anything, this location is what is gonna garner a lot of attention and attraction. Like, yes, the kitchen is nice and the hardwood floors are nice, but beyond that, in this living area for sure, like that's a hoster's dream. The rest of the house is fairly dated, but it does show you that if there are a few showstopper parts of the house, that will garner lots of attention for you. All right, sweet friends. Well, that is it for today. So thank you so much for joining me. This was very fun. This was very informative. Hopefully you guys got something from this. Again, we're gonna be doing more of these types of videos where I kind of take you along with me and show you some different houses around the market. And if you have any questions at all about real estate, please don't hesitate to ask. I am more than happy to answer your questions. My information is all in the description down below. Please, again, be sure to like and subscribe. We are getting more and more attention as more and more videos come out, which is super exciting. And I would love it if you subscribe too, so that way we can get this information out for more people. Be well, be safe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.